Doing a car review video is something I've actually kind of always been wanting to do. I've never known how, and well, today's gonna be the first time I'm gonna be attempting to actually do it. I'm not gonna say I'm the best at it just because it's literally the first time. I'm not gonna say this is gonna be the best review you guys are ever gonna see. It's gonna be my attempt to try to make a review that's gonna be helpful for you to get informed or at least entertained by the video. I hope that in the future or near future it would be like an event or like something that I'll be able to do often and be more confident with, review more cars, get more things here to review. This is pretty much a location that struck my interest, especially just because it's big, it's open, we have a lot of space. So I'm gonna have a lot of space to show you guys every little detail about a vehicle, or attempt to, which is my goal. Get you guys informed, and hopefully it would either make your decision on either buying a vehicle that I review or just get you more informed of the vehicle that I'm reviewing. Thank you. What you just heard was the sound of a 2004 Ford Explorer with a 5-speed automatic transmission. This one in particular has a V6 single overhead cam producing around 210 horsepower and 249 foot-pound-feet of torque. To be exact, this one is actually tuned to make 317 horsepower and around 374 foot-pound-feet of torque. You could also get it from factory option with a V8, which is making around 250. I think it's around 249 horsepower and around 287 foot-pound-feet of torque. It is option with the 5-speed automatic transmission, which is the only automatic transmission that is available for this year. A few of the common issues with the V6 engine is normally the timing chain and the fuel rail sensor. With the timing chain, it's not the chain itself that's bad, it's mainly the tensioner that's holding the chain together, or keeping the tension in. Over time, around 100,000 miles, the tensioner does wear out and weaken, thus causing a kind of a rattling, ticking noise. Most of the time it is mixed up for lifter tick, but it's not lifter tick at all. It's mainly going to be the actual timing changes moving around, the timing changes messing up. Another thing with the engine would be the fuel rail sensor, which it's not really caused by anything. It's just wear and tear. Just over time, it's just going to start failing. Normally giving out a code saying that the pressure is bad, which is normally an indication that the actual sensor is bad. Most people do try to replace their fuel filter. If that doesn't work, then that's when they replace the sensor, and that's normally what fixes it. So if you really want to get it done and over with, I do recommend just changing just changing the sensor, and then if you still have the problem with the pressure, then change the fuel filter. Moving on to the transmission, the only transmission you can get is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Across all from 2002 all the way up to 2005. You cannot get a manual. The thing is with that is that this transmission is not really much to be loved a lot by the community. It does have a lot of problems. One of them being is that the torque converter, so this is just a part that's in front of the transmission, but it's still connected to the transmission. The torque converter is very weak when you're first starting off to move. It's like, if you're going up a hill, you let go of the gas, you're going to start rolling back. It's not going to catch on. And especially in reverse, most of the time it doesn't even engage at all. You actually have to give it throttle, and then it's going to lock up right away, causing the car the jolt. And it could be very uncomfortable when you're backing up into like a tight spot or just reversing and you have a car behind you. Because you're going to give it throttle, nothing's going to happen, and you give it a little bit more, it's going to lock up, and then you're going to go, it's not going to be a soft pull to the back. It's going to literally launch you back, like it's going to shoot you back. It's kind of just like dropping the clutch. Another thing that's actually kind of bad, once you start, well, even without adding power, the third gear, it has a common issue with the teeth. It just shreds the teeth. It's not really a problem with the actual transmission itself. It's just the way the gears are actually, made, the actual sharpening. I don't know if it's going to be a cause of, maintaining the transmission fuel. The transmission oil, which is normally red, it is supposed to be changed every 100,000 miles or 50,000 miles. I gotta double check on that. I am gonna leave the owner's manual in the description. But the third gear does actually just shred. It just completely breaks. It just goes down to nothing. So literally the only way to move it would be to either just move it into its manual mode, only using first and second gear, and then driving to the shop or getting it towed to a shop to get that transmission out, replace the gear, and you're back on your way. Entering the passenger side, you are going to have running boards which go all the way up to the back. Going into the passenger seat, you are going to have a pretty cool grab handle. You're going to have a vent that's pretty apparent, up and down, and you're also going to have an area to either close the vent or make it completely open. Going to the door, pretty simple controls, nothing really complicated. It's just up for your window to go up, down for your window to go down. It's not automatic, so yeah, it's nothing really special. Unlock, lock, and you're also going to have your manual lock and unlock switch right there. Door handle, little grab handle right here for the door. Pretty small area for the actual water bottle or like a flask or anything to come in here, so you're gonna have to be a little bit specific on that. The room in here, it's actually pretty decent. It's not that bad. Moving back into the interior, you are gonna have the airbag and a glove box. The glove box is pretty decent size. It's really not that big. But the leg room is actually something that I'm pretty surprised of. I'm not really tall, but it's still pretty interesting. The seat is actually manual, which kind of sucks, but you could actually get an option with a motorized seat, which is pretty neat. The manual just sucks. Manual, lumbar, and reclining. So nothing special there, but you could get a motorized, which is pretty cool. Only available, I think, either in the top trims, which is the 80 Bauer, and I think, if I remember correctly, it actually could be option on this, but I'm pretty sure it's standard on the 80 Bauer. Got a simple car mat, and that would pretty much be the passenger side. On the driver's side, we're gonna have a little bit of a different situation with the door. Obviously up here we do, well, it's not really obvious what it is, but this is actually what you use to move the mirrors. So left, and then just move the dial up or down like this would actually move the mirrors. Turn it to the right, move it, same thing, up, down, left, right. It changes the mirrors. Coming down to the door, you have the lock, unlock. Instead of having one button for your windows, you have obviously all 4 doors. This one down here is the option for you to basically remove the ability for the passengers to open the windows or to roll up or down the windows. Moving it back this way enables them to do them themselves. One cool thing that it does has, but is also kind of, in my opinion, dumb and annoying, would be that, yeah, it does have an automatic option to roll down the window, but it's not automatic for it to go back up. That's one thing you're gonna have to do yourself, but it's better than nothing, and having it on here and not, like, on the other door is kind of annoying. But if you're the one that's driving this and you're not gonna have passengers, it's probably something you're not gonna bother at all. Going into the inside, you're gonna have, I would technically consider this a little exterior light control panel. First click, you put on your parking lights. Second click, you turn on your low beams. Pulling out to you turns on your fog lights. And if you want to use your high beams, it's here for some reason instead of having it on here, but it's still pretty cool because pulling it back, it's just a simple way to do it. And it does, not on all options of the Explorer, but on this one in particular, it does have the option to have the automatic beams, or automatic turning on and off headlights. So putting it back to the center turns it off. Coming into the inside, in the center of the vehicle, right here, this is normally where you would put your remote garage door opener. You basically just remove this little sticky pad, stick the remote on there, close it, and then just every time you want to open your garage door, you just pretty much press that in. This one right here is just a sunglass, your sunglass glasses holder. I said that pretty weird, but your glasses just chill in here. Little simple storage right there. Receipts, credit cards, anything slim, you can just slide that right in right there. You got your light switch right here for your passenger side and driver side over here. Moving down right here to the mirror, you got your, obviously, a manual adjusting mirror with the auto dimming feature, which is actually electronical, so it's not that little flicky thingy. It's actually electronical, so you just press it once, turns it on. You're gonna see a green light here when it activates. Press it again, and then it just goes away and it never goes green, which also means that it's never gonna dim. Moving on to the actual radio station area, the radio entertainment system, This is not standard with the vehicle, so we're not going to mention that at all. In this area specifically here, you have the radio, which is not going to be the same radio you get in this vehicle's generation. All over the years from 2000 to 2005, the radio does change, evolve, and have different features. This one has pretty much, you know, up to 6 savable configurations for AM, FM. Here's your button to change the AM, FM, your bass, your treble. You have the clock, your balance, your fade, and your scan and clock. You obviously do have a singular, actually, no, it's just, you're only able to put 1 CD in at a time, your jack button, your sync tune, and your CD controls are right here. This one is the rear-wheel drive option of the vehicle, is equipped with the rear-wheel drive drivetrain, which means you don't have any controls here. Typically right here you would have stuff for your actual center console, and then over here would be the center, I think it will be center lock, or basically just rear wheel drive 4x4, and then I think you should have a differential lock. You have simple to use, or pretty much very simple to use AC vent controls. Obviously your lock-ins are right here to close the vent ducts, and we're down here to the AC, which is something that is good. You know, it's AC, but it was done so poorly on this vehicle, mainly because the way it works, it's all by vacuum, which is very easy to break. And let me just turn on the vehicle really quick. Turning on the AC, it is all run by vacuum, but the thing that breaks with this is actually a duct in the actual system, which if you try to turn it to heat, you're gonna hear the duct trying to basically flip the duct, or the switch. It's an electronic switch that tries to flick it open, but it can't, because it's just, over the years it just weakens out and it just doesn't work at all. There is a way you could fix it by taking out the entire center console, replacing that arm or the little electronic motor, and then you're gonna have your heater back on. But as of now, it's only stuck on the cold. And the thing is that it could actually, like, for me it broke on the cold side, so I'm permanently stuck on the cold side. But the thing is, it could actually break when you're on the heated side. So once you're trying to go back to the cold, it's gonna have that problem that I'm having with the heat. So in that situation, it is gonna be pretty bad, because you're only gonna have the heating option. Coming down into the middle of the center console is actually a pretty interesting amount of room. You have 2 cup holders and a giant area to put whatever, like, you know, you got your phone, your keys, you toss it right there. 2 pretty decently sized cup holders, which actually stand up to today's cups. You got this little area to toss whatever in, your cigarette lighter, and you got a pretty decent center console, which has a few of my stuff in there. Coming down to that, in the back here, we should have, let's see back here. We got a cigarette lighter, which is connected to that little thing up there on the radio. We got 2 simple to use vents, and the actual controls to the vents should be somewhere down here. Let me try to feel them. Right here. So these, the way it works, it's actually kind of weird, or not weird. Back then it was pretty much useful, and we still have them today, but you flick it down and then the air actually starts coming down from down here. Flick it back up, they start coming up from the top, and then right here you have your little things to actually move them. Coming down to here, let's see what it is. I'm trying to do this blindly. You have your cup holders, and that's pretty much going to be it for the center. One interesting thing that's actually on the passenger side is if you look down there really closely, there's going to be a red switch. I'm not sure if you can make out the outline that's engraved into the plastic right there, but that's the fuel reset switch, which, if for whatever reason Ford actually did decide to actually implement this in a few of their vehicles, not just the Explorer, but you press that button, it's pretty much going to cut off the fuel. It's like, if the engine's still running, it's going to cut it off. I'm just not sure why it's on the passenger side and not on the driver's side. The reason that I could probably think of is that there wasn't an area for it to be there, but yet again, it's also in a hidden spot on the passenger side, so it's not like your passengers are just going to randomly click the button. Clicking the button does just pretty much turn it off. It's going to take a few seconds and then it's going to come back on. Or if, I think, no, the thing is, depending on what year, because we've actually did play around with it with a few of the model years of the third generation Explorer. On this one in particular, you press the button, it cuts it off completely. It's not going to turn on unless you press the button again. On an 02, which I've recently had my hands on, you press the button, it takes a few seconds, and then the fuel line comes back on and your engine starts running again. So it's pretty interesting, but it's just a little cool detail, and if you ever need to cut off your fuel in an Explorer, you know where to do it. Moving on into the actual instrument cluster. Well, starting off first with the steering wheel. We have the cruise control, which is actually pretty simple to use on this. You got your on, off, reset, set, and coast. You know, pretty much turn it on, and then you just press your set, and then it's going to be set at the speed you're currently going. Press it once, goes down 1 mile an hour. Press it up, goes down, increases in 1 mile an hour. If you hold it, it just every second or so it's going to go up 1 mile an hour. Same thing for coasting when I'm slowing down. Reset, it's just a regular reset switch. Coming over here to the transmission, well, I wouldn't say it's a complete connect linkage to the actual transmission. It's just a electronic column shifter. Moving it down puts it into reverse. Moving down again, neutral, and you got your drive. Pushing it up to you, clicking it right there, it's not going to go back down. You're going to be in basically its manual mode. So in this stage, it's just going to stay like this. Right now it's currently on 3rd gear, 2nd, 3rd. Going back up to 2nd, just pretty much bring it up, 2nd, 3rd. It's not really much of a loose system, so you could actually feel each little notch where each gear is, so you could pretty much drive with it without actually looking down at the cluster. Moving back up to park, it does go all the way down when it's in park. Coming back into the actual, over here on this side, you have your wiper controls. Moving it up moves the wiper once. Pressing the button at the end is over here on this side is where the water would actually like pretty much spill out. Moving it down here, this one would be for the rear window, which if you move it down, it's going to activate the water flush system. Moving it up once initiates the actual ticking system for the wipers to move ever so often. Pushing it down that way, which I demonstrated before, is the headlights. Moving it to you, still the headlight high beams basically, or actually not basically, literally. Coming into the actual instrument cluster right here, you have the gears, you know, your display which shows you where your gears are, or what gear you're currently in. You have on your left side your tachometer and stuff. So you have your RPMs, and then you have your speedometer on the right. Kilometers on the inside. Coming over here to the right side, we have your battery voltage and your oil pressure. On the bottom left side, we're gonna have the actual infotainment screen, which normally on this vehicle only, it only tells your miles, like your actual odometer and how many miles you have on, and your trip if you actually just press in this button right here, which changes to trip. You do have a compass on this car, which is actually pretty cool. Moving on to the left side, you have your fuel gauge and you have your engine water gauge. Fun fact with the check gauge light that's currently on right now, that's actually the light that's supposed to turn on when you're low on fuel. This vehicle does not have a dedicated light when it's going empty, and in some vehicles, which is not, I think only 2004 and down, or not 2004, 2003 and down, the check gauge light doesn't even come on. It would just straight up just run out of fuel, it won't even tell you. And that's pretty much the actual center console. Moving on into the back seats, it's surprisingly pretty spacious. You know, under here your feet do have room to go all the way up into the bottom of the seat. There is no way to actually move the seat front or back, so if you're pretty much a pretty tall dude or a woman, you're not gonna have that much space to work with back here. The front seat does go forward, same for that seat, but that means if there's nobody here, then yeah, you can move the seat forward. If there's somebody, well, the driver's seat, there's always gonna be somebody in the driver's seat, so that's gonna be a little bit of an issue to actually work it out. So it's just best if you're tall, sit on this side, have nobody sit in front, push it back, and then right here you can just have 2 other people. Coming over here, which is something I did mention before with the feet, this is actually the only area you get air conditioning from. You don't have anything all over the roof or anything. There's nothing for you to get air conditioning apart from this section right here. Coming over here to this pocket, they're actually pretty decent pockets. They go pretty much all the way down. And one thing that I have noticed is they do have, like in the most modern cars, there's no pocket back here. In this car, it does have the pocket back here. Yet again, it is a 2004, but I don't know the reason why they're getting rid of the pocket on there and then keeping the one on here. Both pockets here are pretty much the same depth, same size, same everything. And that pretty much would conclude the, well, actually, apart from that, you do have little crap handles right here and another old crap handle over there. So apart from that, that's pretty much the back seats. So this one does have the option for the 3rd row seats, which is only 2 seats. It's not standard on the vehicle. You do have to get either option, or if you have the Eddie Bauer, I think it's pretty much standard. Pretty much getting in back there is actually pretty cool and easy to get in. There's a lever which pretty much adjusts your actual tilt. Push it all the way to you, brings it down to this, pushing it more to you, and then doing another click lifts it up. You grab from here, push it up here, and you got all this room to pretty much step in. Use the running board to get in, come back here, and then once you sit down over here, grab this, put down. The leg space is actually pretty surprisingly good. It is a little tall. These seats are a little bit more far down, but it's actually kind of a, well, for me, it's more of a slouching type of seating. Still very comfortable, not complaining. I could say you could fit 3 people back here if you have, everybody's kind of pretty much skinny, but yeah, it's pretty wide here. You do have a pretty interesting cup holder. This little hole right here is normally for your little cover that you put, your privacy cover. You got a netting back here. I'll explain what that is in a bit. You got another net over there with another cup holder up here. So pretty simple in the back seat. You do not get anything for AC. Like I said, the only area you get AC is that little center console up there in the front. So that's pretty much it. Back here it's pretty cool. Coming back to the back of the vehicle, you do have a really interesting, in my opinion, tailgate system. You come down here, back here, you're gonna have a simple to use like lever, which does open the entire door up. Right here is your little grab handle that pretty much brings it back down. Push it and closes it. This does have a second door up here, but there's no physical button anywhere on the actual door to open it. The only way you can get that to actually open was with the actual key fob, which is detached from the key. So if you lose this, you pretty much won't be able to use the actual rear door. You have to press, it's always going to be the little blue button. You press it once, you're going to hear a noise. It's not going to move at all. You're going to put your fingers under here and just pretty much just pull it up and it comes up automatic. That's one thing that's just could have been done better in my opinion. I like the way 4Runner does it, which is pretty much a little keyhole. You stick a key in there, turn it to the right, and then the window just starts rolling down, which is pretty interesting on 4Runners. But moving into the inside, we are now working with a lot of spaces if you have the third seat up, the third row. The way to actually get the third row to go down is pretty much you pull this little lever up right here, and the entire thing goes down. One interesting thing though is if you look all the way in the back, there is going to be a little bit of a space gap over there. But Ford did think of that, and there was a pretty cool solution that they did come up with. And it's this little piece right here. You pretty much push up, and now that gap is gone. And talking about the gap, let's see. Put the camera like right in the middle. Just put it facing right down. One interesting thing is that all these seats, they're not connected. So if you put this, you can put this one down, and you can still have those 2 seats, or you can put that one down and you'll still have the middle seat. The middle seat has its own little separate section, which is something I've never actually seen in a vehicle. It's always been 2 seats that go down and one stays up, or just all the seats go down together. So the fact that you could do this is pretty interesting, because what you could do, you could literally just, if you have a long object, you could have it run all the way up to the front, still be able to seat 2 people back here, and have all of this space right here. If you really want to get the maximum amount of space, you pretty much move this down, come over here on this side, put that down, oh shit, put that down, and now we have all of this space. You could literally sleep in here. There is nothing to cover up this area of legroom over here, so we don't have anything like this. But pretty much Ford did think that all this space you have right here is all you're probably going to use. You could still move that up, put things down there, cover it up if you never use the third row. So that's pretty cool. It's like a little bit of a hidden storage. And talking about hidden storage, let me move back to the front, or actually back to the back to be exact. Wouldn't really consider it hidden storage, since there's like literally a lever right here. You pull this up once, it comes up like that. You're gonna have all the space. I have my, let's see what's in there. Either the starter cable, and move that off to the side. You do have your emergency jack stand thingy. It's the little crappy one that just pull up, comes up. The way to actually remove the rear tire, or not the rear tire, the spare tire that's on the vehicle, is this little tab right here. It tells you exactly what to do. You use this little tool right here that's included as well. Put that up, you push, pretty much stick this in there, and then you start turning, the tire starts going down, and you just pretty much remove it from the bottom. So that's pretty interesting. Putting this back on, oops, clicks back in. Coming over here to the left side of the vehicle is surprisingly a pretty interesting spot to put a cubby. You know, it's pretty deep, you know, putting my keys in. Goes down that far, so pretty much a little bit all the way up to here, which is actually pretty deep. It just goes into the fender. It's only on one side weirdly enough, and I feel like the reason for that is because this Explorer does have the option to put a subwoofer from factory. You can put a subwoofer in that little area right there. So I'm pretty sure that's the reason why they didn't bother making one, which is pretty cool. I'll be honest. Most people, I'm pretty sure they did get it with the subwoofer, but mine unfortunately does not have the subwoofer. And that's pretty much concludes the backside. So the tow hitch situation is a little bit interesting in this vehicle because I think it is standard for it. You do have the hitch right here to mount your ball in, you know, connect your trailer up and all that stuff, put your change in, all that stuff. The one thing that was an option, and I do find pretty weird, is that if you look over here or any of the sides right here, there's no area for you to connect your lights for your trailer. You actually have to pay extra for that little adapter or outlet for you to connect your trailer with lights. So I'm not really sure. I'm not into towing, so I'm not sure if that's actually something that other companies do, and if it's actually safe for you to be on the road with the trailer that does not have operational lights. So if that's really the case, that you don't really need that, then it does make sense to still have the tow hitch and not that little adapter for you to connect your lights. That's pretty much just a sign telling you to look at your owner's manual if you need any more help on how to actually use the tow hitch. And that's pretty much it with the tow hitch. Pretty interesting. Alright, moving on to the gas cap, which is something that's pretty interesting on these Explorers, especially just because nowhere on the vehicle does it ever state that it's a flex fuel vehicle. Literally the only way to actually find out if your vehicle is a flex fuel vehicle is just by looking at this sticker right above where your tire pressure is. It should say ethanol fuel or unleaded gasoline only. This is not the only way that you're able to tell if your vehicle can run E85. And it's pure E85, so you could just keep adding E85 at the pump. You're not gonna have any problems. But apart from this sticker, the only other way you could find if your vehicle is an E85 capable vehicle is by simply opening up your driver door. On the side, there's gonna be a little paper, or like a little square paper, where it shows you your VIN number. If the 8th letter on that VIN number is a K, then that pretty much confirms that your vehicle is equipped with the flex fuel system. One interesting thing that I almost forgot to mention was this little button right here, right where your key goes. There's gonna be a, well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on most Explorers. It is an option, but on this one it is equipped with the pedal adjusters. What this basically does is if you press this button right here, pretty sure you can see that on the bottom, the pedals do come out more. Press it up, they pretty much tuck back in. So basically giving more of an option for people to basically get more comfortable with a car, being able to sit down and all that stuff. So it's a pretty cool feature. And that would pretty much be it. I haven't mentioned this before, but this is my own personal vehicle, and I'm pretty much happy for, you know, for it being the first vehicle that I'm going to be able to review. But you know, yet again, 4.0 V6 single overhead cam. It's pretty fun, even as its stock form. And that's pretty much going to conclude the 2004 Ford Explorer.